that button right there. Okay. Hi. If you don't know me, or if you're new to me, I'm Marshall Burtcher, and I help codependents rediscover their happiness out of their codependency and narcissistic abuse. I've got to share this out to the community. The community is a safe haven for survivors of narcissistic abuse and codependency. And when you get there, you can you can get there by clicking the link above if you're on Facebook, below on YouTube. And if you're on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. I've got to share it to the community so that they get to participate in this live. Let me get it out there to them. Boom. Okay. All right. Thriving beyond codependency. There we go. All right. So good morning. Nice to see you guys. I've been taking things light this week. I probably will do this again next week. Because usually I'm promoting and working, doing the course and things like that. You got to balance your energy out, right? And so I am kind of like in a cocooning or resting state. But today, I got a little inspired from a conversation I had with a friend and with a student about two specific things that we really wrestle with as codependents and largely as people, right? I call this basically two things: what is real and stories. One of the biggest challenges for us that have survived gaslighting and being told that reality is A, and then finding out that reality is not A, but you don't even know if it's B or C or D or F or G, is to determine what is real. What is really happening? Am I really feeling what I'm feeling? Are these my thoughts? Are these their thoughts? Is this me? Is this my belief? Is that behavior actually real? Am I understanding that correctly? Is my perception accurate or right? This kind of thing. And this question of what is real is a chronic question for survivors of narcissistic abuse, survivors of cults. If you've been through a cult, you're going to question what the hell is real. Back and forth. You're going to wonder if you're real, because part of the abuse cycle is this neglect, this vacuum of reference to you, self-reference and acknowledgement of your experiences, your feelings, your wants, your needs, your person. And this conflates and confuses things. This creates a lot of problems about what is real. So I want to touch on that, because even right now, I've had my own wrestle in dealing with some of the trauma from being gaslit and being specifically made out to be grandiose. Like, one of the big factors of praise I got from my parents were very grandiose claims. I'm a miracle. I'm perfect. I would never do anything to disappoint them. They are so pleased with the person I've turned out to be, and they're not really interested in who I am or my humanness, my tangibility, the spectrum of person that I truly be, right? They just have these very black and white absolute terms they apply to me, and that tends to really warp the experience I had about myself. It convinced me that I should be perfect because that's what I'm known or loved for, and that I should have to do grandiose things in order to be valuable, things like that. It's a really confusing thing, and that put that question into my mind: what is real? And so when we come to this question, what do we do with it? What is real? Well, reality is a detectable, tangible thing, and the way I like to do that is I first want to paint the context. What's the situation? What are the people involved? What's the agreements involved between these people? And then what did I say? What did I do? What did I feel? What did I want? What did they say and do? What did they say they felt? And what did they say they wanted? This helps me start to discern reality, because reality is detectable. It's got tangible facts and figures and elements to it that allow us to connect with it. So when that's happening, then I can start to build my own reference to the experience I went through, which further clarifies what's real. Because we get out of the land of what's right and what's wrong we can get into the land of understanding my experience, and then attempting to understand the other people's experience that are involved in this particular context. So this is how I start to make what's real. It's how I call it sane making. You start to feel more sane, more rational, more connected to reality. And that's by identifying the context and what I did and what I said and what I wanted, what I felt about this context and experience, and then what they did, what they said, and what I suspect they felt, or what they said they felt, and what they said they wanted. This way I have a more objective view on what's real, and then I can tap into my own personal reference to the experience, going, well, okay, so this is how I felt about this behavior. And that brings so much clarity to ourselves, because now we're aligning and connecting back with our true self, our genuine person in relationship to this experience, which can calm the mind, reduce all those like big racing patterns of thoughts of like, what is real? Am I crazy? That real fogginess tends to get very narrow or fade and become very unobtrusive at that point, so you can really connect to that tangible reality, and then you can legitimize your experience. It's like, okay, that happened, this is how I felt about it. I felt this way because of what I've been through, not because there's something wrong with me. And we can begin to ally ourselves with our emotions and our experience, and that allows us to get clarity about what we want to do in response to the situation, and also helps illuminate the kind of needs we have involved in this situation that we can then begin to work to get met. That's how we make things real. Okay? Now, there's a second part to this called stories. So we have a bad habit of trying to predict the future. And I call this conclusion making. And conclusion making turns into stories. So an example would be, hey, I would like to move to a new place, but there are no places I couldn't possibly move. It would be too difficult. That's a story. The desire, the accuracy, the reality is I'd like to move to a new place. The story is it would be too difficult to make it happen. I don't know that. I have no clue what's possible. So why am I trying to predict it, right? Robin says, thank you for that. I love this perception. Yes, yeah, you're welcome there. You're welcome. So when we have to become kind of like our own little detective, right? Our own Sherlock Holmes, per se, and start discerning how we're sabotaging ourselves and telling ourselves a story about the future based on what we think is possible. We don't know what's possible. We have to acknowledge that, because that's a fact. You do not know what's possible. You are aware of some possibilities. And that's fine to acknowledge those possibilities and acknowledge that you don't know what else is possible. So let's open up to what else is possible. Because that question, that curiosity, allows your brain and your body to relax and expand into something larger than what you think, your brain is determined is reasonable. Because most of the time, especially for codependents, if we're going to have like a healthy relationship, for instance, we're going to have a loving relationship, or we're going to have a job we enjoy, we're going to live in a place we want to be in, we're going to have friendships that really work for us, we're going to have to reach beyond what we think is possible, because what you think is possible is determined by your own limited experience in the past. So basically what you think is possible is a projection of the past onto the future. See the problem there? Yeah, that's the issue. We're predicting based on the past, and that's a normal function of the brain, but it's not a useful function because it limits reality. It limits your true possibilities. So you have to step outside the comfort zone of what you think is possible and ask some questions. And it's like, well, what would it be like if I had a job I really enjoyed? What would it be like if I lived in a place that I really loved being in? What would it be like if I was in a relationship with someone that really loved and enjoyed me for who I am, and I enjoyed them for who they are? And part of you is going to be like, that's bullshit. This isn't possible. This isn't, We're going to get hurt again. This is all programming. This is, especially if there's pain, then there's unmet need. So you can trace that pain back to the need and meet the need, which will reduce or even eliminate that pain. But when your brain starts to give you all these possibilities as conclusions, then you can start going, okay, now my brain's giving me thoughts. And thoughts are not facts. They're not the truth. They're not reality. They're just thoughts. So again, back to thought observation and respecting thoughts for what they are. Thoughts, not facts, not truth, not reality. That allows you to calm your nervous system and to refocus on what's possible. Because when we do that, then all sorts of amazing opportunities actually start to form, actually start to show up. You start to get hints inside yourself of what you would like. You also start to see different possibilities around you, and different opportunities start to come your way. Because when we open up emotionally and mentally to more options beyond what your brain is telling you is possible, that's where you're going to see real change start to happen for you. That's where you get to witness that life is a spectrum of both and. Okay? There are bad and ugly and awful things and things we don't want, that we have experienced that we didn't want to experience. And there are joyful, fulfilling, beautiful things that we've wanted to experience that we can have on a consistent basis. It's both. And that kind of spectrum thinking allows us to tap into the honesty that I don't know what is possible, but I am curious how I could have this in my life. I don't know how it's going to happen. I don't know when it's going to happen. I don't know what it will take, but I am willing to find out. And that's how we get out of story, and that's how we get into living our life. This is how we discover and experience real, lasting, different results for ourselves. Especially when we couple it with the healing work you do either with me or with another therapist or mentor or other system. You couple this with that, it starts to really expand it. So guys, in this little impromptu training for y'all, think about that. Start to determine what is real for you and legitimize that so you can feel sane, because you deserve to be sane, because the likelihood is that you are sane. You've just been gaslit and made to question yourself. And second, confront your stories with curiosity and open up to what else is possible, and then begin to witness for yourself that reality. Okay? So that's my little bit for today. It's pretty short, pretty straightforward. Thank you guys for being the badasses you are. I appreciate you. Keep yourself healthy and safe, and I will see you guys next week. Bye-bye.